Hey everyone, welcome to Miss Stamp 3D Wave. It's me, Miss Stamp. Art with Miss Stamp. We're going to make a 3D wave using different materials. This is what it looks like when you're done, the finished product. We're going to use watercolor paint with a little piece of watercolor paper, salt, strips of paper, thin strips, cool colors with white also. We will also need glue and scissors. So here's my salt, my paint, my little cup of water with paintbrush, and let's begin. So we're just going to paint this whole piece of paper blue, the whole thing. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm doing on the back of a painting as kind of like a little space so you can see how to do it, but yours is going to be the whole thing. I'm going to add a little bit of salt on top. The salt is going to create a texture on top of your painting, something really cool, looks kind of like a bubble. And if you can kind of see as the salt dries, there's little spots of white that make it look like bubbly and textured and all that. And when it's all dry, you flip it over, it kind of looks like this, with the little white spots through it. Okay? Now next, what we're gonna do is grab our strips and we're gonna wrap them around our finger as tight as we can. And when we release them, they will be kind of spiral or like a spring. And when your paper is dry, you're gonna use your glue stick to glue down all your little spirals. And you kind of want to do it in a well, not really a pattern, but you want to do it where the spirals are kind of going in the same direction. So there's one, and you can glue spirals on top of spirals if you want it to get taller. But remember, the taller it goes, it will maybe start to fall down. So maybe not go too high. Your blue paper is your base for your 3D art, and all the color strips of paper are your waves. So I'm just gluing all these down. I'm going to cover the whole thing up. I'm doing it over and over and over again using a variety of color. You want your strips of paper to be kind of thin. I use blue, purple, and a white for my paper. And I'm just wrapping it around my finger tight. Some people like to use a pencil, but I do prefer to use my finger, and I'm doing it on the bottom, kind of like the little leg of the paper, where it's still kind of flat. And that's how it looks 3D. That's the top view, side view. Okay. When you do your waves, you're gonna fill up the whole blue space. Some of it can show through, that's fine. And I'm gonna show you how to make a boat that stands up on top of your wave by drawing. Just a simple boat shape, and I'm going to cut it out. Now I'm going to show you guys how to make the boat and how to make it stand up on your wave. So I have a scrap piece of paper. I'm going to draw my boat on. Simple shape. Oval with a line, half oval, line up, and triangle for the sail. You're going to cut it out and then add it to your boat. But I want to also show you how to add a foot to the boat. So this little area at the bottom I'm drawing, that's going to be my boat's foot. So when I cut out the boat, I'll have something to bend to put the glue on. So I'm cutting out my boat as closely as I can. This is actually the second boat that I made, but I wanted to redo the recording so you guys could see it, the foot, how to bend it correctly. Just cutting as close as I can. And you can also paint this or color it with marker, which would look fantastic. And you want to try to do both sides when you do that. So for your true 3D piece is to be able to be walked around and seen from all angles. So I'm bending the bottom, that little lip, so it can kind of stand up on its own. And that's what you really want it to be able to do. 3D art can stand up on its own. It has a base. That foot is my little boat's base. Bending it a little bit more. There you go. Now it's standing up. So I'm going to add some glue on the bottom of that base. and then I'm gonna add it to one of my waves. I didn't color or paint or any of that, but you can do that on your own. I would suggest painting and letting it dry completely before you try to add it to a wave, because if it's still wet, it may not stand up. So there's one of my boats that I already did earlier. I didn't paint the other side just for time reasons, but you guys should do both sides if you're gonna color and paint. There's one boat and there's two boats. I had students in the past who have also added fish, so when you add a fish, you can add it inside of the wave, which would look really cool. You can add it to the side of the wave. On top, you could have a shark eating your boat. There's so many different options for adding 3D on top of 3D for this project. Just make sure you always add a foot so it can stand up on its own. I hope you enjoy the project. Have fun making it. Bye.